Sony and Canon executives are officially losing sleep right now, and for a very good reason. The professional photography landscape just experienced a massive earthquake. Internal supply chain documents regarding Nikon's recent, highly publicized acquisition of Red Digital Cinema have finally surfaced. They point directly to the imminent release of the highly anticipated Nikon Z8 Mark II. This is no longer just a baby Z9. This is a terrifying, Hollywood-tier cinema rig in a tiny hybrid body. We need to completely reset our expectations for hybrid cameras in 2026. For years, professional creators have been forced to heavily compromise. You either bought a high-resolution flagship for stills or a massive, bulky rig for raw video codecs. But with the upcoming Z8 Mark II, those annoying dividing lines are being permanently erased. By directly injecting RED's legendary cinematic DNA into a compact mirrorless chassis, Nikon isn't just updating a camera, they are staging a takeover. Let's immediately dive into the absolute heart of this new beast, the sensor. For months, wild internet rumors heavily suggested Nikon was jumping up to a massive 61-megapixel sensor. However, the most reliable internal data confirms Nikon is smartly sticking to the absolute sweet spot of 45.7 megapixels. But do not let that familiar resolution count fool you for a single second. This is a brand new, highly advanced, fast can stack CMOS architecture that completely rewrites the rulebook. Why does this specific new sensor architecture matter so much? Because it reportedly achieves a staggering readout speed of approximately 3.8 milliseconds. For context, that is nearly twice as fast as the original, already blazing fast Z8. What this means for you out in the field is virtually zero rolling shutter. You are effectively eliminating that ugly jello effect in high-speed sports and aviation photography, capturing flawless, straight lines during intense, fast-action panning shots. This insane readout speed is a massive blow to the competition. Competitors like Sony have leaned heavily into global shutter technology with the A9 series. But global shutters always force you to sacrifice base image quality and crucial dynamic range. The Z8 Mark II delivers global shutter-like speeds while perfectly maintaining the massive, beautiful dynamic range that Nikon is famous for. But the real magic happens the exact second that image data leaves the sensor and hits the processor. Nikon is officially debuting the terrifyingly powerful EXPEED 8 AI processor. This is not just a minor, incremental speed bump. It is a massive cognitive leap for camera technology. Nikon is introducing a brand new autofocus system they are calling Deep Intent Predictive Tracking. Standard mirrorless autofocus simply looks at where your subject currently is. The EXPEED 8 processor actually predicts exactly where your subject is going next based on advanced skeletal modeling and movement math. Whether you are shooting a chaotic wedding in a dimly lit cathedral or tracking a falcon diving at 200 miles per hour, this AI system refuses to let go. Early field testers are reporting an autofocus hit rate comfortably north of 99%. It completely eliminates the frustration of missed focus. But while the photography specs are absolutely top tier, the video specifications are what will make this camera the most dominant. Highly sought after release of the entire 2026 calendar. Let's talk about the specific feature that is making every single competitor sweat right now. The deep red integration. For the absolute first time in a hybrid mirrorless body, the Nikon Z8 Mark II will feature internal 12-bit REDCODE RAW. We are talking about capturing flawless 8.3K video at up to 60 frames per second. And you are doing it using the exact same compressed, highly versatile RAW video format that is currently being used on massive, multi-million-dollar Hollywood movie sets. But it is not just about the heavy RAW files, it is entirely about the cinematic look. The Z8 Mark II officially includes RED's legendary IP to color science as a selectable internal color profile. This is an absolute game changer for solo filmmakers. You can now get those famous, gorgeous red skin tones and buttery smooth highlight roll-offs directly out of the camera. It completely bypasses that overly sharp, clinical digital look that has severely plagued mirrorless video for the last decade. To handle this massive, continuous flow of 8K REDCODE RAW data, Nikon had to completely overhaul the internal chassis. Authentic supply chain leaks have revealed a brand new graphite thermal dissipation system. Unlike Panasonic or Canon, which heavily rely on external cooling fans that add annoying bulk and break weather sealing, Nikon engineered a completely passive cooling system. It violently pulls heat away from the EXPEED 8 processor and the sensor, pushing it directly out to the chassis. This brilliant graphite thermal design means you're getting unlimited 8K 60 frame per second recording times, even if you are shooting outdoors in harsh, brutal summer environments. The camera will simply not overheat or aggressively throttle your workflow. And for the solo run and gun creators, Nikon finally listened to the single biggest complaint the filmmaking community has been screaming about for years. They are finally delivering flawless, professional-grade audio straight to the body. The Z8 Mark II is completely confirmed to feature internal 32-bit float audio recording via its upgraded XLR adapter and the internal dual jack system. If you shoot video, you know this is a total lifesaver. This means you can officially say goodbye to ruined, clipped audio forever. No matter how loud or chaotic your shooting environment suddenly gets, you can easily recover the audio gain in post-production without losing a single decibel of quality. Your audio will never be destroyed again. Ergonomically, the Z8 Mark II stays incredibly familiar but feels vastly refined in the hands. The physical chassis is still that legendary, rock-solid magnesium alloy, officially rated for brutal temperatures down to -10 degrees Celsius. However, the electronic viewfinder has seen a massive, highly requested hardware upgrade. We are looking at a stunning 9.44 million dot ultra-wide panel that cranks out a staggering, blinding 2000 nits of peak brightness for outdoor shooting. If you have ever desperately struggled to see your EVF exposure under the harsh, direct midday sun, this new 2000 nit panel is an absolute lifesaver. It is incredibly fluid, it is blindingly bright, and it is arguably the best, most color-accurate electronic viewfinder ever put into a hybrid mirrorless camera. But wait! There is one more highly secretive hardware feature that absolutely nobody in the photography community has been talking about enough, and it completely changes how you shoot. Taking a brilliant page directly from the advanced tech we saw during the Z9 development cycles, the Z8 Mark II is introducing eye control autofocus. The internal sensors inside that massive new old viewfinder will actually track your pupil. This allows you to instantly shift your autofocus point across the frame, simply by looking directly at your subject. In a fast-paced sports or wildlife environment where every single millisecond counts, this is a massive, unfair competitive advantage. Being able to simply look and lock onto a subject without ever touching a joystick is the exact kind of technological leap that separates working professionals from amateurs. It is pure science fiction brought to life, so let's talk about the official release timeline and the financial investment required to own this beast. Authentic supply chain leaks highly suggest a massive global announcement event in late Q3 of 2026, with the very first pre-order units shipping just in time for the holidays. As for the official price tag, we have to be realistic. While the original Z8 launched at a highly disruptive price point, the expensive addition of licensed RED technology and the massive EXPEED 8 AI chip pushes the Z8 Mark II into a slightly more premium bracket. You should expect a US launch price hovering around $4,599. While that is a noticeable step up in cost, you have to remember exactly what you are paying for here. The sheer value proposition of this camera is completely undeniable. For under $5,000, you are getting an elite, high-resolution sports stills camera and a literal Hollywood-grade red cinema rig, all crammed into a single, weather-sealed magnesium body. The market competition is incredibly fierce right now. Canon is desperately doubling down on their video-first R5 lineup, and Sony is heavily pushing their A9 global shutter tech. But Nikon is doing something entirely different. They are fundamentally changing how we capture light and color forever. By brilliantly merging their hardware with RED's legendary cinematic software, Nikon has effectively leapfrogged the boring, traditional specification war. They have moved straight into visionary territory. If you are a serious professional photographer, a high-end filmmaker, or a tech enthusiast who demands the absolute peak of what is mechanically possible, the Nikon Z8 Mark II is the roadmap item you simply cannot ignore. It makes almost every other hybrid camera look completely outdated. The original Z8 was a fantastic camera, but the Z8 Mark II is its own terrifying beast entirely. The real question isn't whether this is a great camera, it's whether Sony and Canon can even afford to keep up. Does internal 8K REDCODE RAW make this an instant pre-order for you? Let me know down in the comments. Subscribe to TechPulse right now and hit the bell because we're dropping exclusive Z8 field performance tests next. Keep creating and I will see you guys in the next video.